In this video, we'll start creating custom recipes, and this is the coolest thing ever. So let's first open your app, and from the home screen, click the arrow to expand the options you have. You have two options. First is to create a new recipe or edit the recipes that are uploaded on the machine so that you can use them without Wi-Fi or without the smartphone. So let's first create 3 good recipes, and then later I'll show how to upload them on the machine so that you don't have to use your phone. We'll start with a standard pour over. Now it will tell you that to control pour over, there's 2 ways. One is total dissolved solids, another is time to brew, and I'll get to that in a moment. First, you pick the size of the cup. There's 3 standard sizes. For me, you can go 300 or 350 or 250. For the golden standard, for pour over, they use 250 milliliters per 16 grams of coffee. So that's what I will use in this recipe. I'll use 16 grams of coffee and 250 milliliters. Now, some people wanted more coffee beverage and others wanted less, so just pick a different amount as you see fit. Some people thought that it uses too much coffee, so you can go lower. You can do somewhere between 20 and 10, closer to 10 maybe. I recommend sticking to the region of 15, 16 per cup. But there are different preferences. Some people like a lot more coffee. For example, the Clover Starbucks Reserve coffee uses something closer to 30. Sometimes they even go to 40, but we didn't allow 40, it's too wasteful. Next, you choose the temperature. So again, you can go really hot, close to 99 at 97, and you can go somewhere more reasonable like 92, 90, 94, or you could try something new and try something lighter at 85 or so on. And you'll be surprised by the taste. Do not prejudge and assume that it has to be 92 degrees or 95 degrees because someone said so online or because a standard says this and that. It's completely dependent on you and the beans. So I'll make an entire video just about what temperature really means, but for now you can just choose and try and see what you like. Now for the total dissolved solids or time to brew, you have to choose one or the other. You can't have both controls at once. So either you control with time, so you do how long does it stay in the brewing chamber, how long does it mix for, and in this developer app we show 1 minute to 3 minutes. We can also have 0 minutes where it just shoots it right away. It doesn't stay in the brewing chamber, so it would be like a regular pour over. We'll add it very easily to the app. For now, I'll choose 1 minute, but in another recipe, I actually won't choose minutes. I'll choose total dissolved solids. But let's save this one first. We'll call it the fast, good pour over. And I want it added to the device, so it has to be uploaded. Okay, now I'll add another pour over, but I'll use TDS for control, not time. So I'll go 250 again. This time we'll go 16, 95, and instead of choosing time, we go total dissolved solids. What total dissolved solids means is how much coffee actually ended up dissolving in the water and ends up in your beverage. And this is the most accurate measurement of how strong the coffee is, not how it tastes like. Because this is a physical measurement of how many particles are floating around that are in the liquid form that are coffee particles. So we'll go with 1250 because that's the standard, but we never have to follow the standard. If it's too strong, you can go lighter. You can go as light as 800, and if it's too weak, you can go much stronger. And you'll know that it's correlated with time basically, but it's also correlated with other factors. So if you go really strong, you'll need to mix longer. If you go really weak, you won't need to mix for long. But this is not the only aspect, because you could have used more coffee and you wouldn't have needed to go long to dissolve more coffee. You could have had a higher temperature and you would have extracted faster, etc. So for now, this is very close to the golden cup, the one used in the coffee industry. We'll just call it golden pour over or something like that. We'll save it to the machine as well. Next, I'll make a French press and a cold brew. French press is very interesting because people have very different preferences. So I'll just make something that I started to like with my beans. 300. I'll use 20 grams. And I'll also go to the highest temperature, because when you make French press, usually you pour the water onto the coffee really quickly, the full cup. So not much temperature loss happens there compared to pour over, where it actually like kind of flows through a little at a time and you pour slowly. So there's more temperature losses there. So I'm trying to simulate a real French press. And for the time, you'll notice that when you choose the French press mode, it steeps rather than recirculates. So with the French press mode, it'll just sit in the brewing chamber, just like a regular French press where it doesn't move. So for mine, I'll go for a 2-minute steep. And as I said, later we can have 0 or more time if that's what you would like. And we definitely will add the 0 for sure, so you don't have to wait. We'll call it Rayan French press. And now to my favorite, which is the cold brew, because I don't like waiting an entire day to make cold brew. Usually when you want something, you kind of want to just go and make it or go and get it in 5-10 minutes or so. You don't want to, like, you can't plan what you desire. So that was the most annoying thing in making cold brew. But because of the machine and the fact that it can pump the fluid through, it can extract the coffee much faster than regular techniques. So for the cold brew I'll try to make it as quickly as possible. And one trick to do that is to use less water to have more coffee than usual. So I'll choose 20, just 5 grams more than my typical cups. And for the time bit, it's very interesting. You can experiment with it, but I'm actually happy with the 5-minute one. I don't need it to be much stronger, because in cold brew I never expect it to be that strong. But if you do, you could. Now, the machine doesn't refrigerate the water. That would be ridiculous and it would cost a lot of money. But what you could do is simply add ice to the cup if you would like, or you can have it at room temperature. The idea is you'll be extracted at a very low temperature that none of the extremely bitter stuff will be in your coffee. And we save this guy. And I definitely want to add this on the device. Okay, so now we created 4 recipes. Cool. So let's go back to the main screen. You will see that the device has 4 recipes. You want to take note of a bunch of things here. For each recipe, there's a color beside it. That color should be the same one on the machine. When later you choose to upload it or remove it, you will know by knowing the color. So remember, if your favorite one is, say, cold brew, you should remember the blue. And there's only 5 colors, so it's not a big deal. And you'll start to notice that it shows the name. Oh, that's because later the roaster will be able to create recipes, and you might want to try some of his, or the cafe, or friends and family. You will notice also that there's a timer there, but there's no number beside the timer. That means that there's no alarm set for this, and that it has to be brewed manually. So now here in the app itself, you could brew it directly by clicking Brew Now. But one of the things that is cool is maybe I don't want to brew through the phone, right? So I want to add it onto the machine. We scroll down, we click Edit Device Recipe List. And it shows at the top that there's 4 out of 5 on the machine. These 4 are uploaded, and you can check your machine. So let's say you wanted to remove one of them because you want to upload a better one, and or you want to experiment with something really cool or new. So I'll take down the French press just as an example, and it goes down. It doesn't get deleted completely. It's still there. So if you want to go back to it, it's not a big deal. You go Add, and it goes back to the machine. Also, you can rearrange if you want the first one to always be the most common one. For example, the golden pour over is my most common one, and then probably the faster cold brew. There we go. And later we will be creating recipes and sharing them with you. But for now, you want to try your own and explore. So I'm happy with this list on my machine. I click Done. Oh, and if you want to brew through your app, you just gotta choose the one and click Brew Now. That's it. So when you load your app, this is how it will look like. And then if you want to know more, just scroll down and click the arrow, and back you go. This is the most awesome bit. I hope you have a lot of fun with it.